I absolutely love to be by the seaside. Who doesn't? But for me, one of my favourite places is Cornwall. And this place in particular, if you can see here, this is the Lizard. It's right out down on the southernmost part of the UK in Cornwall. And this is the English Channel coming up here, and the Lizard is this furthest point here. But I particularly love it down here, and it's so mild and absolutely lovely weather. It's definitely a lot warmer. The plants come out a little bit earlier than they would otherwise. I got right trekking cancel. Yes, I've got that. So look at all the lovely colours here, though. All these russets and nice dark shadow there. So I've got some interesting shapes, and the sea and the lifeboat launching house here. This ramp, I guess they all run down there. And then the rocks and the sea and the sparkle. So and the greens. So I've got to try and do that. So I've sketched it out already. If you can see that, it's maybe kind of difficult because the camera doesn't always pick up the graphite there, but I think you should see it. So what I'm going to do now is just put a wash in and get cracking on it. Let's get my brushes organised. Yes, let's just... what sort of sky do I want? It's very pale, actually. So I think I'm just going to just wipe in here with a little blue, a little bit of cobalt. But it's a lot paler than my my sea. So that's what I've got to bear in mind, as long as there's some difference. So let's just go with that. Very important to keep your horizon nice and level there for the sea anyway. So I've got that. I've drawn a nice sharp line there. So I'm painting up to that. Bring it down fairly. So that's just a very gentle wash. Just taking off the white, really, for that. And then I think I'm going to, I think I'll put my sea in, actually. I think I'm going to go for that right away. Just let that dry because I don't want it to bleed in. So let's give that a moment to dry. Right. Okay. Although maybe actually I think I'll let that dry. Let's put the this land form in now. Some nice washes, and I'm going to paint light to dark, of course, which is the traditional way with watercolour. I put my light washes in, and then it gives me room to put some darker elements in. So let's just a mixture of remnants of my old colours on my palette at the moment, but mainly raw sienna and a little bit of umber. But I'm just going to wipe in here. But there's lots of lovely greens as well, which I'm going to get in. So let's just be bold. And so I want to paint this fairly quickly. because I find if I set myself a time limit of about an hour, which is pretty much what my camera can do actually, so on the one battery, and that acts as a bit of a restraint and makes me get a move on. If you paint in watercolour, half of its appeal is it's light and airy and spontaneous. If you labour it too much, it kind of shows. That's strange that should be the case, but it certainly is. Now, let's also, there's a roadway that comes down here to the lighthouse, so I'm just going to wash in a little bit there. So that's my first wash really, pretty much done, and I've got rocks here, nice rock formation there, so I'm going to obviously deal with that. And right in this element here in the foreground is quite a shadowed area, like a ravine really. So I'm going to put that in right away when it's wet. Got a mixture of colours here, a little bit of umber, a little bit of crimson alizarin actually still on my palette. So I want this dark shadowed area to come in here. This is as you can see, this is wet on wet because it's still wet here. Can you see how it's bleeding in? Quite a diffused colour there. It comes down here. So I think we'll leave that for the moment. Let that dry off a little bit. Although I can use a similar mixture, although I like to vary it, not exactly the same, but you see in my sketch I've marked out or shadowed with my pencil a little bit some of these darker areas that I want to preserve and remember where they are. And while this is wet actually, I think I could drop in some of that darker mixture right away. And also remember, when you're painting using a photo reference, it doesn't matter how good your photograph is. You tend to lose some of the details in the shadows and also in the very bright lights as well. So if you chase the photograph, you tend to miss out on those shadows. So remember that the eye is much more acute at getting these colours. So if you were out and painting this from plein air in the open, you would see a lot of different colours in there, right from the word go, which you could paint them, of course, if you were with your painting gear, you were in the mood to paint outside. So I'm going to get some sap green now. And when it's a little bit wet, I can diffuse into some of these areas. There's some greens. I've got greens along the top here. Again, I want to vary it. Got a lot of green here in front of the cafe here. It comes down this bank. So let's tap in these different bits. Green along this bit of the hillside here, cliff top. There's green here. So, and it comes here. So I've got some viridian as well. I think I'm going to change the colour up a little bit. And we get some green, different green there, look. And here I've got some sort of, let me say like a russet colour really. So I'm going to get a bit of light red, a little bit of crimson alizarin, and a little bit of orange, I think, cadmium orange. Let's see if I can... Yes, that's not so bad actually. Get that in, and on this bank as well, on the top of this ravine. And that comes pretty much right out to that edge. Got some russety colours here. I'm using what have I got here? A Graduate Daleroni. Very nice brush, this one. This is number 18, so it's quite a big brush. I'll change that something smaller as we go. But there's a lot to be said for staying with a larger brush. As long as you can. And of course there's time to change it up a little bit. That needs to be a lot darker, so let's get some Payne's Grey going in there. Put a little green so we can make it a little bit darker in there. Yes, I want to find much darker there. Let's put some ultramarine into my green mix there. Because I need it much darker. So you can see that it's a sort of an edge there. So I want this dark setting against this lighter area. And it comes right up to that edge there. So we... Right. I think I'll let that dry off a little bit actually. Oh, I've got some darks here. Let's get some umber. Some burnt umber there. I think we could put some bits in here. Yes, I think yes. Mixture of greens here. Good wash. My colours here. Still got lots of whites there. I want to lose those. Don't want it showing too much at the moment. Now this bit here, that's no, I need a little bit more yellowy, ochre-y. Let's get some ochre with my umber there. It's a little redder, I think I need that. Yeah, that's a bit better. Yes, I think I'm going to exaggerate the red a little bit. because I want lots of interesting colours. Keep lots of interest. Again, change it here. And the greens, always varying them. Got to get some darks here. I'll put some nice grasses projecting into this dark area, but it's got to be dark because I'm going to put some, they're going to be nice light coloured stalks, so I'll probably do that with some gouache. But so I've got some contrast, I'm got to take this dark down, I think, a lot more. There's a sort of fairly sharpish edge along there. We've got to get this darkish. Still diffusing, which I like to some extent anyway. I think I could put some brighter green in along there. Yes, I think we've got to do that. Just put some greens and some... Let's get a bit of lemony, greeny going. We need to clean that up a little bit. So easy to contaminate a lot of your yellows. So I've got to make sure I've got a clean brush. Let's see if I can't. That's better. Red in as well along here, and we'll mix it with a bit of hookers. Right, I think we get some brighter green up here. Right, okay, that's not so bad. And then let's get some more orange going in some of this actually. Yes, I can see that we need something there. And down this side of this roadway, down to these rocks, quite a bit of orange there, and along here. Right, here we go. Now I'm stepping back a little bit and squint my eyes so I can really see where I need more darks so it contrasts with my light. So I'm making a Payne's grey mixture there, but quite a lot darker. So it comes, so I can delineate this cliff edge really, or ravine edge. It's quite dark down, a nice dark element here. Yes, you wouldn't want to fall down here, I can tell you that. But, we can have cliff edges down here. Some greys as well. Let's get a little bit of our cliffs in here. Such a nice place to visit this. If you're down in the southwest UK, looking out here over the sea, you can see the yachts, the sailors coming back from their long trips around the world sometimes. This is their point they hit. The first part of the UK off of here. Right, okay. Let's think about this now. I think I'm going to need to have perhaps a smaller brush in a minute, but while I'm here, let's, along there, that's all dark. Yes, that all comes up against that. Dark here. I'm just using my sketch now, where I marked out some darker bits. Right, let's leave that now. We'll lead into there. Yes, I've got to get that building in, haven't I? And let's get some grey with a smaller brush, I think. So we'll get a bit of blue, slightly off blue there, and get this roof of this building, this lighthouse lifeboat station, I should say. That's just one of the buildings. It's got the roof there, and then we've got this end of the of this building here. That's darker. Let's do that. And then the roof is catching the light, so we'll got a bit of ochre in it there, just to give me a little bit of warmth. Flat roof there. That'll do that. And then, of course, the front of this building as well. How should I do that? I think just has to be, yes, it's lighter than the roof, maybe. Slightly different tone, so let's just wash it in there. I'm going to put some windows in that in a moment. Get a little bit of view of the side of it there. And we've got to put the side of that building as well. Now I need to make the front a bit darker because it's not showing up. well enough. So I think I'm going to wait for that to dry a little bit. Then I've got my my track here for the lifeboat. Must be quite a sight to see that go down there. I'm not sure whether this one is still an active lifeboat station or not. Got to put some shape into those rocks a little bit later. Now the greys come down there to the top of that thing, and of course I've got that road as well. That's a little roadway. It comes down from the cafe up here. Let's put a roof in there. There's various buildings there. This apparently is the southernmost cafe in the UK. So it's quite a place to sit. They've got a little patio area there where you can sit and have a coffee and a nice cake perhaps, or a latte, whatever takes your fancy there. Now I think I want to get some brighter greens around it. So I've got some lemon yellow here. So I'm going to put some of that here. And we'll drop a bit of blue in if we want. And get some green going. But it was quite a nice green actually. It's going to go some Viridian. Oh, that's a bit fierce. You've got to be careful with some of your greens. It can be a bit vivid. So I'm just going to drop a little bit in there. And they've got a tree out there, and shrubs. As it comes down. Let's get a bit of ochre into that. Just a bit vivid there. Right, that's better. That's green up here. A little bit orangey actually. Let's get some of that in, I think. I can put some pedestrians walking down here to the cafe. Some lovely campsites around here. There's one up here called Henry's. If you're a camper, you might like to consider staying there. It's a wonderful place. Now let's get some bit of sap going. Fill in some of these. Right, I've got to get that that roadway in though. I don't think I've shown that yet. Let's get it a little darker. It's a bit too dark perhaps, so I'll dry off my brush and then lift it a little bit. That's what we'll do. Use some of those colours there. And the side of that, let's put some ochre with some red. Get a slightly different colour. Put a bit of cadmium red. I don't use that so often. Usually use crimson alizarin, but okay, there we go. I think I could darken my roof of this station up a little bit, I think. That's better, so it stands out more from this front, and also we need, this is not dark enough, this face. That's better. Right, now let me think. It's like, what sort of tone am I going to put in here? Let's get some light red in here. Bring some changes. And actually it's quite orangey here. I don't think I've emphasised that enough. So you're constantly reviewing it as you go. Again, quite bright colours in some of these. Again, now I think it's time I attempted to get some of that sea in. I think I need to darken this with some, when this is dried a little bit. And I want to preserve some of the whites of the paper actually around my rocks. So let's just get a few of these rocks in. There was a number here. We've got to ring the changes, a little bit of raw sienna, a little bit of umber, just generally ring some changes. I need something stiff in here, give some interest. I'll try and get some grasses in there later, and all these points we need to make some interest. And there's a couple of buildings up on the top too, so it's only a suggestion of them, so you don't really see them in any detail, but just to hint at them. A few roofs. leave some of the little white of the paper showing to suggest them. And yes, I've got the cafe, haven't I? We've got to put in some details on these buildings. Of course, we've got some lights and some windows. Some window here. It comes down here. Yes, I think we can do with that. It's dark in here. I know that, so we can do that. All down here. Try and give some idea of the lie of the land. Now let's get the sea in. We've got to do that. Let's get a nice brush here. Let me see, is that a little big? I want a nice mixture. Yes, that'll do. It was not a bright sea. It was just... But I'm going to vary it. I think we could put a bit more blue though. Let's go with a bit more. Just to make it colourful. Leave some areas where the surf is crashing up against the rock. So up here in the distance. That's it. Comes up here. See in the distance there. Leaving a little bit for the surf there. Crashing around there. And I'm just looking, I think I'm going to step it up. I'm going to put a little bit of cobalt. I used cerulean there, but I think I'm going to try and give me a little variety there. So we've got some interest and off of here. Little bits in there in the distance. Let's get this down and under the launching ramp. Got to put some darker tones for the shadow area. I'll try and put some detail on that ramp actually in a moment. Now I think this comes right up. We won't see any surf there. Water there running coming up. Right. Now, I think actually with my smaller brush, I'm going to get some brighter, stiffer green. So I can show some more colour there. Oh, that's a bit dark. Let's use some of that here. Right, I can do that. So a nice stiff mixture of Viridian, Hooker's green, a bit of sap, anything to sort of add interest to your painting. And this bag here, and I can see more greens here. So I've got to put some nice grasses in front of this. So I'll use my point on this. This is a number, ooh, I can't see now, what is it? 6. So if I put a few marks in front of it, any structure, it tends to push that structure back a bit. So let's try that. So I'm going to use a little bit of gouache, I think, certain points, but that I'd still need to deal with this ramp. I have to put some detail in. There was a bit of green there actually. And down here. So again, I'm trying to get interest in it. And here we've got, you can't paint everything, of course, you just kind of suggest it really, the side of your brush. Or you can even use your nail to scratch some marks like this. That sometimes will work. Now this is a little flat, so I need to try and put some directional marks in. Right. Okay. Let's put some more darker colours. A bit of Payne's grey, I think I've got there. Let's try and suggest these structures here. Just hints at them. Yes, that's it. That's what we can do. And there's, just looking at my reference, yes, just so we've got to hint at clearly what it is, we've got to try and do a track down here, a little darker track, a few marks into it there to help show us what we've got. So there's certainly, I think we need more dark there. These piers, they're holding it up. Let's just darken it up a little bit there to help show what we've got. Right, how am I doing? I think I need much darker on that roof, actually. Well, not a great deal darker, but some sort of... This is not contrasting with this face of the building, so let's improve that so we can see. That's it. And then we've got a few hints at the shape of the building there, I think. Yes, I think that helps. And we could delineate a line down there, I think. A bit of negative painting, paint up to this. And it should show us a little bit better. Now, what should I do? Should I... We've got to put more interest in the foreground, I think. Let's put some different, slightly different colours here. Let's get some of the purple in to my mixed. Try to show the directional marks of the cliff edge there. But I think I need to definitely get something more darker into here. But let's get a really stiff mix, because I don't want it to bleed too much. I want it just to stay fairly dense kind of colour. Yes, I think we'll do that. It gets darker down here into the gloom. So I've got that Payne's grey, but I've added some more darks to it, different tones of greens. Yes, I think it's getting to look a bit more like a ravine, isn't it? You don't want to go to this edge, do you? Have you got that impression, folks? Yes, if you like this, please subscribe to my channel. I say it helps the channel grow, gives me some feedback. I'm interested in any comments as well, actually. If any of you are painters, or you don't have to be a painter, but just comment if you've been down here to the Lizard Peninsula. I absolutely love it. I went on a motorcycle trip once some years ago. I travelled all around the coast of Cornwall with my little pup tent. It was such fun. Yes, again, I'm just squinting my eye and I can see I need to have more dark to try and connect these different shapes. Yes, it's coming together. I can see it now. And I think I'm going to go for some darker elements to my rocks out here. A dark element there. It's catching the light on the tops, but they're elements which are hidden more from the light. So let's try and show that. I've got one big one out there as well. And a little bit of dark side to that piece of rock there. And we could again try and show more of these pillars. These structures that keep this ramp up. Let's make sure we read that as a window, and that, and also along that roof line. There you go. Right, now let's get a bit of gouache and see if I can put some nice little light coloured grasses projecting into that. It's still a little bit wet, so let's kill a bit of time with, see if we can step up the interest in here. Got some purples there. Yes, that's an idea. Also, we could a bit of dry brush there. Bring it down. But there we go. Right, let's get on to that gouache then, before I run out of battery. And I've got a nice fine brush here. A little tiny one. I suppose I could use a rigger, but this one is a number 6 round actually. That's not so tiny in a way, is it? But anyway, let's start. Get something. We can put a few highlights in. So I've got straight out of the tube, so I'm going to put a few highlights on here actually. It's catching the top of that. Yes, we could do that, I think. That's showing a bit. And also it's down the side. But I was going to say I mustn't chase the photograph. Sometimes works in the photo but not as a painting, so I got to be mindful of that. So shall I put a bit of white here? But I want to try and get some flecks here. All these grasses that I can see sticking out. Right. Yes, there. I've got to use just the tip of this brush. That's better, yes. And we've got a few here as well. So we can go for that. Bit of white on here. On the grass there. Let's see now. See a little bit of white here. And what you can do, as I said, is if you've got a sharp nail or a knife actually, or let's have a look, you can scratch a few things, get some of the lighter. Yes, that shows some of the grasses projecting out into that piece there. You've got a few here as well. Experiment with different marks actually. I'm just wondering actually now, why don't I go for it with actually there is a bit of white in my reference. There is a bit of surf there, so let's do that. I think we could be a bit more generous. But I can see my cafe here, the most southerly cafe in the UK, apparently there. So you want to see that. There we go. And I've got want to put light against dark there. I can see in my references some rocks there. So let's see how that works. And a few rocks. And showing us. Right, that's got to be careful not to overdo that though. Oh, I know what I could do though. With a dryish brush, you can put a few flecks. That's too dry. Across the water like this will give you some flecks. So I'll roll in my brush a little bit there. But I think I perhaps need a little bit more blue, because remembering that the watercolour is going to dry quite a bit lighter, so I think I'm going to see if I can add a little bit more. I've got some cobalt blue. Yes, we need a bit more to make it interesting. We've got more contrast with the distance as well, with the sky. Yes, let's go for it. It's just a bit too pale out here. So just a bit of colour then. Add some water there to that mix so it blends in enough. I think that's helping a little bit. I've got a little bit more interest here. Mix a bit of cerulean there as well. I suppose I could have put a yacht out there with some interest. Add more interest, and I think put darker against our rocks here. There we go. Right, and then my smaller brush here, I can make some marks, represent some grasses, different grasses that we've got. Change the colour. Let's get a bit of yellow in there in our foreground, so adds a bit more drama to it, I think. Yes, that's sort of a lemon yellow, but it's got a bit of green on it. So there we are. So I think I'm going to leave it at this. There's very little extra I think I can add. I don't want to overwork, of course. Always my worry that I might do that. So what I'm going to do now is I've made this little mat, or this little piece of equipment to help me so I don't have to use tapes. So I just made this out of cardboard, a bit of tapes. There we go. Can you see it? So I've got a little bit of a frame around it. So I'm just looking at it now, thinking, have I done enough?